everybody and welcome back to another video. Today I will be bringing you my February book haul. I acquired a couple of books in February that I bought, so I figured I would show them to you. The first book which I bought in the month of February, really this is gonna come as no surprise to any of you. Morning Star by Pierce Brown, which was the third and final book in his Red Rising trilogy. This was my most anticipated release of the year, so you can bet your ass I had pre-ordered this. And because Barnes & Noble is pretty awesome and just seemed to know that I am nowhere near where any of his Morning Star tour stops were, my copy is a signed copy, and that means I can add it to my beautiful signed Golden Sun, and somehow I will have to find a way to get Red Rising signed at some point in life. I don't know how this will happen. I don't know. Another new release which I had pre-ordered was Calamity by Brandon Sanderson. Obviously, as you can see, I got the Kindle version, and this is the third and final book in his Reckoners trilogy, which is a young adult superhero supervillain series, and I have of course already read this book. I quite enjoyed it. I thought it was a good finale to the trilogy, though it actually might have been my least favorite of the three books. That means I rated it like a 4.5 as opposed to a 5. So it's still really good, even if it was not my absolute favorite in terms of the books in the trilogy. I do highly recommend this if you have not had the chance to read it. It's an awful lot of fun. And the only other books which I purchased this month actually just arrived today, hence I decided to film a haul because I will unbox this, as you can tell, from Book Outlet. Don't get your hopes up, guys. I really actually didn't get that much. So I had made a point of saying this year that I was going to try and not do any arbitrary buying. I'd been pretty good about this last year, but I figured this was another year to do it. And Book Outlet is one of the biggest sources, I think, for anybody who's a book lover of just giving into arbitrary buying. And I'd resisted basically all their sales up to this point. However, for the President's Day weekend, I believe it was, they were having a sale, and there were a couple of books that I really wanted that were in there. And on 4 books, yes, only 4, I apologize, I spent under $20, so I thought that was pretty good. The first book that I have is 100 Sideways Miles by Andrew Smith. I love Andrew Smith. I've read his Winger duology, as well as his book Grasshopper Jungle, which I actually just found so weird. It was just not for me, but I heard really good things about 100 Sideways Miles, and it seemed more like the kind of book by him that I would enjoy, which is that the main character of this story sees the world through miles as opposed to minutes. So his sense of time is in how many miles the Earth has gone in a matter of minutes. And this is just a YA contemporary, and I think I'll really like it. It's supremely short, as you can tell, and it just sounds like it would be so interesting, and has a ton of starred reviews on the back from various publications, and I'm hoping this will be more like Winger than like Grasshopper Jungle, so I'm really enjoying it. I have Of Metal and Wishes by Sarafina. This is a YA fantasy, I believe. It could just be historical fiction, but I think it is sort of a type of fantasy. From what I've gathered, it is a play upon the classic tale of The Phantom of the Opera by Gaston Leroux, except set in China. I don't remember what era of China it is set in, but I actually have not heard this much about it. But if you tell me Phantom of the Opera, you immediately have my attention, because I really, really like that story. And I've sort of been eyeing it for a while, and when it ended up being so inexpensive on Book Outlet, I was like, all right, I'll get it. The good thing is that if I like it, I can just wait until they have the sequel up on there, which is called Of Dreams and Rust or something, but I don't know. I haven't heard anything about this, so I'm going into this relatively blind. I got Sarafina by Rachel Hartman. I have actually already read this book. I read this back in 2013, I think, back before it even had this shiny purple cover, and I really, really loved it, but I never owned a copy of it, and so now I'm gonna have to wait for Shadowscale to come out in paperback for me to be able to get that, but I could not resist the chance to own this book. This is a fantasy duology set in a fictional realm called Gored, in which dragons are real and they interact with people, and they actually have these things they can wear to make them look human. It's really pretty cool. And we follow our protagonist, Sarafina, who's actually half dragon, half human. And in the first book, she gets drawn into a murder mystery after one of the royal family is killed, and it's about to potentially spark off a war between humans and dragons, and it is fantastic. Highly recommended if you have not read it yet. And the final book that I got is The Father of Us All, War and History, Ancient and Modern, by Victor Davis Hanson. This is far shorter than I thought it was going to be. I thought this was going to be a honker of a book, and it's tiny. This is obviously a non-fiction history book, which is about warfare and society, obviously both ancient and modern, and this is just sort of a topic that I sometimes find interesting, and so I figured, why not? I'd like to read it. And I did not realize this was literally just barely over 200 pages. If I'd been smart, I would have looked up a page count. I seriously was expecting this to be like a brick. I'm genuinely shocked right now. Outside of those books, I did pick up an audiobook of David Copperfield as narrated by Richard Armitage with my Audible credit, which is actually my basically least favorite Dickens book. I don't know why. I've never gotten into David Copperfield all that much, but it's Richard Armitage, and I happen to really quite like his narration, and he narrated The Chimes, which was Audible's like gift to its members for over the Christmas holidays. So, I mean, Richard Armitage narrating, I know he's fantastic, and I said, all right, I'll listen to him read David Copperfield, which I have already listened to, and the strength of his narration had me give it a 3.5 out of 5, which says a lot for me against David Copperfield, which I seriously do not understand why I don't like David Copperfield all that much, but fantastic audiobook. If you at all have Audible, I highly recommend this one. It's very good. It's also very long. It's something like 36+ hours, and it'll occupy you for a while. But that's it for me today, you guys, and so until next time, cheers.